This movie is nightmare fuel. Let's do it. So the movie opens up with a producer of a production company telling us that he funds a live reality show called Grave Encounters. And then he explains how they had to stop filming after episode 6 because the whole crew went missing mysteriously, but they found the footage and that is what we're watching. So then we meet our main characters, which consists of Lance, who's like the producer. We have Sasha, who's like the occult speaker. We have Matt, who's like the tech guy. We have Houston, who's like a fake medium. And we also have TC, who's like another cameraman. So we find out through Lance telling us that the main idea of the movie is that these guys are going to do a 8-hour night lockdown inside this like haunted asylum. Great idea, right? What can go wrong? So before the lockdown, they're talking to like a bunch of different people who know about the asylum, and they learn that the doctor, like who is in charge of the asylum, actually was killed by a bunch of patients because he was doing unethical experiments on them, so they rioted against him and stabbed him. And then they meet Kenny the caretaker, who brings them through these front doors here, and he gives them a tour of the building before they set up, and then he leaves and he's like, okay, I'll see you guys in the morning, good luck. And Kenny locks the door here so like they can't get out through the front door, and all the windows are barred so they can't get out through there or anything else. So a few things start to happen, but you only really catch it like if you have eagle eyes. Like a window opens on its own, a wheelchair moves like a little inch on its own. But then TC is alone in a hallway and he's talking to his daughter on the phone. And he actually catches a door slamming on camera. So TC is freaked out by this, so he calls up Lance, Houston, and Sasha. So they leave like Matt in the lobby area with his tech gear, and they go up there and they're talking to TC when all of a sudden another door slams, and then Sasha's hair starts to like get pulled by like an unseen force. So this stuff collectively freaks me out because remember, they've gotten this on camera. This is all found footage. So they decide to go back down to the lobby where they're going to wait for Kenny to come get them in the morning. So they tell Matt to go get like all his cameras up because he's like hung up cameras in like different areas of the hospital. But Matt never comes back. And we, the audience, can see that he gets like this room like with all these giant windows with no bars on them, but he hears a noise and then he leaves and he never comes back. So the group now looks at the times on their phones and sees that it is past sunup, and it is also past the time that Kenny said he would come to get them, and he's still not back yet. So they decide to break down the front doors. So Lance and TC go to break down the front doors with a gurney, and when they do, it is more hospital. So the group now decides to go into the different halls of the hospital to look for Matt and look for another way out. And then TC points out, he's like, hey, when I was filming outside earlier before we got into the hospital, I saw a fire escape on the roof. So if we can get up to the roof, we can go down that way. And when they try and do that, there is just a wall in the middle of the stairwell blocking their way forward. They cannot go up and out through that way. And then the group think that they hear Matt screaming. So they go into a room, but Matt isn't in there. Instead, it's just like a metal bed frame, which fucking levitates. This freaks them out enough to run into like a different empty room, close the door, and try and get some sleep. And when they wake up, the word hello is physically scratched into Sasha's back. Then the group thinks that they hear Matt again. So they go looking in the different rooms, and they come into this room and they see this chick in the corner. And when they try and turn her around, she turns around and her fucking face contorts. And when they're running from that, Houston is separated from the group. So now we see Houston wandering like the dark halls of the hospital alone. We can see that there's doors opening and closing on their own. And then Houston is picked up by an unseen force and violently thrown across the hallway, and he is offed. Meanwhile, the other members of the group have fled into a different room and fallen asleep. And when they wake up, they have hospital bands on their wrists with their names on them. So the group continues to wander the halls of the hospital trying to find an exit, and that is when they find Matt. And now Matt is obviously, something's going on with him. He is like laughing hysterically. He's like mumbling to himself. He's wearing this white hospital gown. And Matt tells the rest of the group that they can only leave the hospital when they're better. So the group decides to go to sleep in a different room now, and when they wake up again, there's hands coming out from the walls trying to grab them. So now they flee into this bathroom that like we had seen earlier when Kenny, the caretaker, gave us a walkthrough. But this time, this bathtub here is like filled with blood. And when TC goes over to like drag Matt away from it, this like ghostly figure jumps out, grabs TC, and drags him under the surface. So now the group only consists of Lance, Sasha, and an incoherent Matt. And Lance and Sasha are becoming pretty hysterical at this point, and Sasha is even actually getting kind of sick and ill. So they flee down a different hallway, and they actually find some elevator doors. But the doors don't open, so Lance leaves Sasha with Matt, and he goes into a different room to try and find something to like open the doors with. And that is when Lance sees this motherfucker on the ceiling, and I think this is the thing that fucked me up the most when I saw this movie. So that creepy-ass demon causes Lance to run back to Sasha and Matt, who are waiting by the elevator, and this time, like, Lance has found some sort of, like, metal rod he can pry the doors open with. And when Lance pries the elevator doors open, there's no elevator inside, just, like, an empty shaft with, like, a ladder on one side. And they remember that earlier in the movie, Kenny had told them that there's like these service tunnels that connect all of the buildings of the asylum. And they think that maybe they can like use those to go to another building and escape through that building. So Sasha and Lance start to talk about going down that ladder to the service tunnels and using that route as like an escape route. And they're talking about this when suddenly they hear a sound, they look to one side, and this demon comes barreling down the hallway right at them. So Lance and Sasha are actually able to run forward and block this demon with like a door, but while they're doing that, they're not keeping an eye on Matt, who is still like incoherent and like kind of out of his mind. And Matt actually jumps down the elevator shaft and he is offed. Sasha and Lance are obviously like really devastated by this, but they climb down into the service tunnel still, and now it is just the two of them. Now, Sasha at this point is actually violently ill. She is on the floor, she's coughing up blood, and in one very heartbreaking sentence, she says, "I want my mom." And now Lance films a video that's a lot like Heather's apology video from Blair Witch Project, where he says, like, Sasha's asleep on his shoulder, and he's looking into the camera, he's like, "I don't think Sasha's gonna make it. I don't really know what we're gonna do here. We're trapped in these tunnels. We don't know what's going on. I don't think Sasha's gonna make it out of here." And Lance was right, because these two fall asleep here, and when they're asleep, a dark, like, mist kind of comes up, envelops Sasha, and Lance wakes up, and Sasha is gone. And you gotta feel bad for Lance now, because he is alone in this creepy-ass tunnel, and it is only night vision at this point. He only has night vision left. And Lance is now left, like, roam these tunnels on his fucking own. And he's, like, screaming out for Sasha. He's like, "Where are you? Where did you go?" There's this really gross point where he, like, smashes a rat with that metal rod that he still has. And he actually fucking eats that rat. And now Lance is actually starting to go kind of insane at this point, because he is actually, like, looking to the camera. He's laughing a little creepily and hysterically, and he's saying, "If anyone's watching, fuck you," and then he laughs again. It's very creepy. And now Lance falls asleep, and when he wakes up, he sees a door. And of course, because it's a horror movie, Lance goes through the door, and on the other side of that door is this. It is the fucking ghost of the fucking doctor. And the ghost and these two nurses, they drag Lance away, and they fucking lobotomize him. And then the next scene of the movie is Lance talking to the camera again, and he's saying that he is better and he can go home. And then the movie fucking ends. Found footage, man. Fucking terrifying. So if you guys like this video, drop a like and drop a comment of what other horror movie I should do next. Sorry I've been gone for so long. I got sick and I had to work on top of that. I'm so sorry, you guys.